Community for the Development of the Human Being, a moral force on the march and a social organization, gives its response to a world that is becoming increasingly dehumanized. There is a global and personal crisis because everything has failed or is about to fail. Isolation, suspicion, and fear grow in a world threatened by a dark and insecure future. And the individual contaminates his surroundings with his suffering as violence and destruction continue to plague humanity. In 1969, the founder of the community, Silo, gave his response to the world crisis because the existing solutions were not working. Later, the initial ideas appeared in books and materials, and they were also put into practice in more than 42 countries. In the fall of 1981, the community launched its message to humanize the earth with a series of public rallies in Europe and Asia. The first rally was held in Madrid, Spain. There, as many other places, Silo and an international team were invited to participate in the public act. Preparations for their arrival were extensive, and thousands greeted them at the Madrid airport. This mission begins here today, and we call it to humanize the earth. Our mission here is to humanize every activity. What was said then? It was said that without internal faith, there is fear. Fear produces suffering. Suffering produces violence. Violence produces destruction. Therefore, internal faith prevents destruction. Rebel against frustration and vengeance. If the direction of your life has not changed yet, you need to do so. But if it has changed already, you need to strengthen it. So that all of this can be possible, accompany me in a free, courageous, and profound action, which should also be a commitment. Let us stand up. And tell them with an open heart that something great and new has happened to me today. And now for all, peace, force, and joy. The Madrid public rally coincided with the publication of Silo's second book, Internal Landscape, the first one being The Look Within. Accompanying him in autographing books were other authors of the community whose books also were published around the same time. There are many people who ask, Why do you do what you do? We do it as a supreme moral act. This is our free act, our moral act. Treat others as you want to be treated. Let us stand up. And in front of our future, let us ask, is it necessary for me and for others to change or to strengthen the direction of my life?
Your life will be converted, and you will begin to transform your world, the real world you inhabit, the world of your spouse, your co-workers, your neighbors, your family.
Association de clausus stupid. Pongámonos en pie, escrutándolo. Y frente a nuestro futuro preguntemos.
Dinner gatherings are quite common after public rallies. There people get to know each other better in a friendly and jovial atmosphere. In Iceland, the dinner took place at the site of the most ancient parliament in the world. The community opens the future for any person. We're happy to have here with us community friends from Sweden, Germany, England, Holland, Belgium, and Iceland.
Holland, Belgien, Island, the Folkets vælge.
Der umiddelbart følte Silos tale.
How does the contradiction arise? When a person betrays themselves and they act against the way they really feel.
We do not believe in apocalypse. For us, the world is not going to end.
Someone might say that we are dreamers.
We have not invented this world, and we do not have the decision-making power to change things. Our proposal is much more humble, and it refers only to the change in the individual and his immediate surroundings. Do I want to change or to strengthen the direction of my life?
Fred, styrke og glæde, peace, sport, and joy.
Silo and many other authors of the community were invited to the International Book Fair in Frankfurt, Germany. As a result of this, books of the community will soon be available to peoples of many countries that still have not had the opportunity to know of the community. Although there was no rally in Frankfurt, French and German friends participated in a social gathering. I wish you all peace, force, and joy. Hopefully it can be declared there are no guilty ones, and that each human being should have as an obligation to reconcile with his own past. This begins here and now, in you and in me. And we will be responsible for this to continue. Until it reaches the remotest corners of the world.
Pongámonos en pie. Hoy, y no
Today and not tomorrow, go and reconcile.
paz, fuerza y alegría para todos.
Kraft, Friede und Freude für euch alle.
Paix, force et joie pour tous.
Adesso per Milano Bella Bigatti.
Perché la causa crudele
The most beautiful cause that one can embrace and that gives meaning to life is the one of humanizing the earth. When the future is closed, everything becomes smaller and the actions lose strength.
All of this which these irresponsible people call normal, we call death and nihilism.
Look within yourself and look all around you to discover the need to change.
We are here
Noi siamo qui,
to call you to action. So we can all say now,
così che possiamo già dire
il futuro
The future is ours. There will be no change without reconciliation. For the first time, stop looking for guilty ones. You and the other one are responsible for what you once did, but no one is guilty for what happened. Today and not tomorrow, go and reconcile. Embrace your spouse and your child. In Sri Lanka, the first public event was a press conference held in a Buddhist temple in the capital of Colombo. Everything is changing. Everything is in movement. Surely the great systems that have preceded us have made their enormous contribution to human progress, although later they have deviated from the path. At the Buddhist Shanga, Silo said that when this great movement of freedom is put into motion, there'll be nothing that can detain it.
The Prime Minister of Sri Lanka with affection and thanks.
Thank you. Because I feel that we are going through a moral crisis than an economic crisis.
At the invitation of the leader of the Sarvodaya Peasant Development Movement, which counts on 2 million participants in Sri Lanka alone, Silo spoke and answered questions.
Talk about helping others to help you. But is there no danger that you might, or the blind would be leading the blind?
Is it possible for a blind man to use other senses? Therefore, it is possible that a blind man who hears a waterfall nearby can warn others of its existence.
So you have instead our family as much as we have instead your community.
country, a group of brothers and sisters have founded 42 groups working in this country. Like any other country in the world, our country too needs very badly humanity. We are all getting dehumanized very fast in our country too.
On humanizing the world.
Ours is an invitation to participate enthusiastically in the world.
But unity life always ends up in others and not in oneself.
And to those that still have not had the opportunity to take part in this noble effort, we suggest that they change the direction of their lives by participating in our work. And then we suggest that they bring the message of the community to all their daily activities.
If the known systems would not have failed, we would adhere to them decisively. The community, besides being a social movement that begins with the individual and his immediate environment, is also a moral force on the move, which directs itself to surpassing the suffering in others, even when oneself suffers. Because definitively, when one jumps over one's own suffering by directing oneself with compassion to others, benefit comes back to ourselves.
Quiero cambiar o fortalecer la dirección de mi vida.
Do I want to change or to strengthen the direction of my life?
Ahora para todos, paz, fuerza y alegría.
Now for everyone, peace, force, and joy.
In Bombay, friends from many Asian countries participated in the public act, which in spite of a cyclone blowing 60 miles outside and the population being warned to stay home, drew more than 10,000 people to the beach of Bombay.
The community extends a warm welcome to all of you to this first outdoor public act.
Community also stresses, community इस बात पर भी जोर देती है that faith is the most useful thing for life, कि विश्वास जीवन में सबसे उपयोगी है. Therefore, it helps people develop faith in themselves, in others, in life and the future. अतः ये व्यक्ति को स्वयं में, दूसरों में, जीवन में और भविष्य में विश्वास के विकास की सहायता करती है. It encourages people to carry this useful faith to their...
In expressing our proposal, we are not out to convince anyone. We only want to inform so all may know. And once they know, each one can choose freely, can exercise his freedom to choose the path that is useful for his life and the lives of those around him. My dear friends of India, help us all to humanize the earth.
Actions which harm others create contradiction. They destroy and weaken everything.
Lack of faith, naive faith, fanatic faith have only led man to his present direction, full of disorientation and contradiction. It is our responsibility to change this direction. Deepen within yourself the faith that you can change. Awaken that force of life hidden within you, that force that can open the future and humanize the earth. So, you and I, and all the other builders of a new world, denounce any action that harms human life. We propose a new way of thinking, of acting, a new way of being. Friends, for the tens of thousands that participate with us in our efforts, this new being is already in motion.
En un pequeño pueblo campesino,
In a small rural town at the feet of the tallest mountains of the West, in remote South America, we gave our first message. And now they tell us, how is it possible that somebody listens to you since you do not promise money, you neither promise happiness, nor do you perform miracles? You do not heal, and you're not a master. You're simply a man as any other one. They do not understand the voice that talks from heart to heart. We are not cynics, and when we speak from heart to heart, the good men from all latitudes understand us and love us. And what do we say today from India, pulsating heart of the world? We say, treat others as you would have them treat you. There's no human action superior to this one. There's no moral more elevated than this one. And when the human being understands this and carries this to the practice in every day and every hour of his day, the human being progresses and makes others progress with him. Good is whatever improves life. Bad is whatever opposes life. Good is whatever unites the people. Bad is what divides them. Good is what affirms there is still future. Bad is to say there is neither future nor meaning in life. Good is to give the people faith in themselves. Bad is the fanaticism that opposes life. Today and not tomorrow, begin a new life. Greet your father and mother, your husband or wife, your friend and your enemy, and tell them with an open heart, something great and new happened to me today.
What is
The last official public rally where Silo spoke occurred in Paris. Their friends from all over Europe participated in diffusion, marches, and above all in the spirit of belonging to the beginning of a strongly knit psychological nation that transcends all conventional barriers.
We're going to start the march now, and everybody who wants to come.
Mariana, d'Allemagne, pour motiver à humaniser la terre.
A new vital project is necessary.
We are all responsible for how life will be on this planet.
That one of the real problems in this world is precisely the lack of joy and enthusiasm. Liberate yourself so that new lives can flow through you. New lives that will make your joyful enthusiasm shoot out of the depth of your hearts as a brilliant star. Vrede, kraft en vreugde.
Our friends have expressed their different points of view. Let us now concentrate on the basic ideas of the community, which are as follows. First, the human being is born in a world which he has not chosen, and he finds himself subject to pain and suffering from birth to death. There exists the possibility for the human being to choose between an act of rebellion against pain and suffering or submit himself to the same. Fifth, the existence of this free act is the basis for any kind of morality. Without this freedom of choice, there is no basis for morality. All moral acts end in others and not in oneself. 7. The best moral act is as follows. Treat others as you want to be treated. 8. Any action that produces pain and suffering in others is immoral. All forms of physical, economic, religious, and racial violence are immoral. 9. Every human being has the moral obligation to act against violence and in favor of everything that overcomes pain and suffering. You must choose between frustration and resentment and the contamination that these feelings produce in your surroundings and reconciliation, which will change the direction of your life. And explain to them later so that they can bring this message of reconciliation to others. After Paris, many public rallies were held in different countries. One such rally took place in Mexico City, Mexico. Organized by the local community there, it also saw the participation of community friends from the US, Canada, Costa Rica, Panama, the Dominican Republic, and Venezuela. The Mexico event shows that the rallies that occurred in a few countries in Europe and Asia are just the first steps of a great social force on the move. After Mexico, plans were made to hold public rallies next year in the United States and in many South American countries. The community, besides being a social organization that directs itself to the individual and his immediate surroundings, is a moral force on the march, in such a way that the forces of immorality and violence have to take it each time more into account.
Stand up.
And in front of our future, let us ask, Then let the force and the light of life spring forth in me.